From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline, Malacanang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacanang in review. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday personally extended his appreciation to Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. in relation to the president's participation in the recent defense summit in Singapore. In their bilateral meeting, Zelensky said the chief executive's participation in the occasion is a strong sign and step towards peace. According to Zelensky, they are currently undergoing the path towards achieving peace. For his part, President Marcos Jr. said, it is a privilege that he was able to meet and talk with President Zelensky in issues relating to the future, particularly issues on territorial disputes. According to President Marcos, he empathizes with the crisis that Ukraine is experiencing, and the Philippines will continue to do whatever it can to promote peace, stop war, and achieve a long-lasting solution.
Dateline, Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday signed into law a measure authorizing an increase in the annual teaching allowance of public school teachers. The President approved Republic Act or RA number 11997 or the Kabalikat sa Pagtuturo Act during a ceremonial signing in Malacanang Monday afternoon. The new law sets an initial teaching allowance of 5,000 pesos for every teacher for school year 2024 to 2025, followed by 10,000 pesos for school year 2025 to 2026, and every year thereafter. In his speech during the event, the chief executive said, the enactment of the Kabalikat sa Pagtuturo Act is a significant milestone for the education sector as it provides a big support for teachers so they can concentrate on teaching. President Marcos said it is the government's task to ensure the welfare of teachers, whom he described as the unsung heroes of the society. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
We mark today a significant milestone for Philippine education as we have signed the Kabalikat sa Pagtuturo Act. Since the start of my term, I have placed great emphasis on the need to bolster our educational system and the urgency with which this should be done. As an oft-mentioned adage of our elders, to which as a father I too also subscribe, education is the only inheritance that we can leave our children that can never be taken away from them. Our Vice President and Secretary of Education and the women and men of the Department of Education have laid down the building blocks of a modern and responsive educational system. Through the Matatag Agenda, we are addressing the challenges to basic education. We are decongesting the basic education curriculum with a focus on foundational skills such as numeracy and literacy. We are building more classrooms and providing learning materials and internet connections, especially in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas. We pursue the school-based feeding program, fostering safe spaces for learning, and implementing other programs aimed at supporting learners' welfare. Today, thanks to the hard work of our legislators, we get to receive the much-needed assistance for the Matatag Agenda and the fourth component of that. That is, to give support to teachers so they can concentrate on teaching. I think we are all familiar with the situation where when a teacher finds themselves in financial straits, then sometimes they are distracted and spend their time trying to increase the support that they can provide their families, and to the detriment of the actual teaching. But teachers teach because it is a vocation. It is not a job. It is a vocation. Teachers teach because they feel they have to teach and they want to teach. And that's why we must give them the support so that they are allowed to do precisely that. The Kabalikat sa Pagtuturo Act comes as a welcome support to the advancement of the Matatag agenda. Teachers are the unsung heroes of our society, of any society for that matter. They toil and burn the midnight oil. They teach our children not for money nor for prestige. They serve our country each day by teaching our children the basic foundations to make them responsible and productive citizens. It is our responsibility as a government and as a society to take care of them. Indeed, this new law institutionalizes the provision of an annual teaching allowance and gradually increases it from the current 5,000 pesos to 10,000 pesos, which will not be subjected to income tax. And while it might seem inconsequential to those who are already used to having a steady supply of basic materials for work, this amount makes an enormous difference for our beloved teachers and for the students. For decades, they have willingly taken on the burden of having to spend their own money on classroom supplies to aid them in teaching. They embrace this wholeheartedly as their responsibility, as part of their duty as teachers, as part of their vocation. It must take an incredible amount of love to sacrifice what little you have for the sake of your students, despite having financial worries of your own. With the passage of this law, we are easing some of the burden that you carry each day. So at this point, I would like to convey my gratitude to our colleagues in the House of Representatives and of the Senate for pursuing this long overdue increase. We have listened, we have persevered, and now we have taken action. However, there is much still that needs to be done to strengthen our educational system, promote social welfare, and to secure our nation and move our development forward. In all of these aspects, we need to work hand in hand. And I believe Congress has done significantly well in passing key pieces of legislation that support our national development agenda. I am happy to report that we launched the Sukat ng Kalikasan, or SNK framework and toolkit of the DNR last May 22 during the International Day for Biological Diversity. It is the start of the implementation of a Philippine Ecosystem and Natural Capital Accounting System Law, or simply PENCAS Law, which I signed on the same day. This is essential to achieve a balance between economic planning and environmental protection. The SNK framework is a tool for the effective management of our natural resources that is grounded on science and sufficient forward planning. It will serve as a guide amidst climate change, biodiversity loss, and energy transition and other natural phenomena that are beyond our control. So I thank Congress for its passage of the Eddie Garcia Law as well, which was signed last May 24. This puts in place measures to protect workers of the movie and television industry, an industry that employs hundreds of thousands of people and generates billions of income annually. It mandates movie and television employers to ensure safe and humane working conditions, provide benefits and services for their workers' security and well-being, and to adhere to a strict set of standards that are in accordance with the Labor Code. So with these, I implore our fellow workers in both houses of Congress, let's continue working together to make a difference in our people's lives. Let us continue to write and pass these laws based on foresight, not on reaction. Continue building the foundations of a bagong Pilipinas, a nation where people's needs are attended to, so that they can focus on doing what is best for themselves and for their families and for their communities and thereby for their country. To our teachers, our students, and the Filipino people, rest assured that this is just the beginning of all that we wish to accomplish for you and for our country. We are constantly looking for and finding solutions to the decades-old problems of our society now, and not just mindlessly flinging the burdens of the present administration to the next administration or to the next generation. To my fellow workers in the executive branch, this I ask. Let us act now, and let us act quickly so we can build a society that we can proudly bequeath to our children and to our people. Let us take this chance and continue delivering the best for a brighter tomorrow for all. Mabuhay ang ating mga magigiting na guro. Mabuhay ang ating mga manggagawa sa industriya ng pelikula at telebisyon. Mabuhay ang ating kalikasan. Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday presided over a sectoral meeting on preventing and combating online sexual abuse or exploitation of children, or OSAEC, and child sexual abuse or exploitation materials, or CSAM, in the Philippines at the Kalayaan Hall in Malacanang Palace. During the meeting, the National Coordination Center, or NCC, presented a comprehensive strategy aimed at strengthening the criminal justice system through several key pillars. The NCC emphasized the importance of enhancing referral pathways and mechanisms by revising and establishing policies to coordinate efforts across schools and local government units, or LGUs, thereby addressing and eradicating OSAEC and CSAM more effectively. Another key pillar involves creating a centralized repository for OSAEC-related reports and information. This repository will compile data from local and international organizations, facilitating a more cohesive approach to tracking and responding to OSAEC incidents. The NCC also plans to partner with businesses and media, including broadcast stations, to strengthen anti-OSAEC campaigns and raise awareness through dedicated media segments. To ensure comprehensive care for child victims, a dedicated office within the Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, will provide ongoing support to help them heal and reintegrate into society. The chief executive reiterated the importance of rescuing the child victims, emphasizing the urgency of prioritizing the safety and well-being of young individuals above all else.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos on Tuesday welcomed United Arab Emirates, or UAE, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Malacanang Palace. The President thanked Sheikh Abdullah for finding the time to visit the Philippines. President Marcos emphasized the good relationship between the UAE and the Philippines and hopes the very close relationship continue in the future. The chief executive also thanked Sheikh Abdullah for all the assistance UAE has given to Filipino nationals working in the Emirates and hopes to return the favor, even just a little. For his part, Sheikh Abdullah also thanked the Philippines for its support to the UAE. He believes that the relationship between the two nations is growing but could do much better, as both countries have shown interest to further enhance it.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday emphasized the important role that barangay or village and Sangguniang Kabataan, or SK, officials play in serving the Filipino people. during the oath-taking ceremony of newly elected officers of the Liga ng Mga Barangay or LNB and SK National and Island representatives in Malacanang, the President said that even though plans and programs in the national level has not been ironed out, if its implementation in the local level is not good, then the public will not feel its benefits. The chief executive said no one else would know the situation, problem, and solution on the ground than local officials themselves. President Marcos promised that the national government will remain open to suggestions from local government units or LGUs, and their recommendations will be included in the planning and programs of the government with the future of the Philippines in mind. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
I extend my congratulations to all of you, to the newly elected Liga ng Barangay sa Pilipinas officers and the SK National and Island representatives. I am very excited to be able to welcome you here into the palace because without a doubt, public service begins with you at the barangay. You are the first responders in times of emergency. You are at the forefront of our efforts in building a strong, prosperous, and united society. Kabilang kayo ng muka ng bagong Pilipinas. Kaya naman ay inaasahan namin ang inyong pangunguna sa pagbabago upang mapaigting ang dekalidad na serbisyo publiko. I have always said, and this is born of my experience in my time in local government, and that it is all very well for the national government. Dito kami, tinatrabaho namin, marami kaming ginagawa para pagandahin ang buhay ng ating mga mamamayan. At kahit na napakaganda at napakagaling at napakahusay ng aming pinaplano, ang aming ginagawa, kapag hindi kami tinutulungan hanggang sa barangay level, ay wala ring mangyayari. Hindi pa rin mararamdaman ng taong bayan. Kaya talagang wag niyong iisipin na dahil sinasabi, mataas yung governor, mataas yung mayor, tapos kami, barangay lang kami, SK lang kami. Huwag niyong iisipin yun. Dahil napakahalaga ng inyong trabaho. Napakahalaga ang ginagampanan ninyo na katungkulan para sa ating pagpaganda ng Pilipinas. So, I always say that my time as governor, my time as in the local government, was the time that I learned what happens at the ground level, how things work at the ground level. And I learned very, very quickly that the barangay officials and all of the other, ang mga volunteer natin, yung mga BHW, yung ating mga yung mga ating daycare center na volunteer, lahat sila ay napakahalaga. At yun na nga, kapag may sabihin na lang natin, hindi natin na ipaliwanag na mabuti sa ating mga barangay officials na ito yung ating pinaplano, ito ang gagawin ng national government, ito ang kailangan namin sa local government, ito ang kailangan namin sa mga barangay. Pagka hindi namin na ipaliwanag na mabuti yan, hindi talaga bababa. Kahit napakaganda, kahit napakahusay, kahit napakatama ang aming ginagawa, hindi talaga aabot sa baba. Kaya kailangan yung laging nasa isip ninyo na kung hindi maganda ang ating pagdala ng serbisyo sa taong bayan at the local level, wala nang kabuluhan yun. Hindi talaga mararamdaman. And that's why this is such an important part of the way that we plan our economic policies, our political policies, all of these. And that is why we are trying to make sure that the voice of the local governments, not only at the provincial level, not only at the municipal and city level, but hanggang sa barangay level, hanggang nga sa volunteers, dapat kailangan pakinggan. And that's why umaasa kami sa inyo na nandiyan kayo, na tumutulong talaga sa amin, tumutulong para pagandahin, ngunit nakikinig naman kami, nakikinig naman ang national government sa inyo. At para kailangan namin malaman kung ano ba talaga ang naging sitwasyon doon sa lugar ninyo. Wala nang mas eksperto sa bawat komunidad kung hindi ang leader ng komunidad na yun. Lagi kong pinagmamayabang ko nung gobernador ko. Wala nang mas nakakaalam sa Ilocos Norte kundi ako. Nobody knows more about my province than me because I'm the governor. And that translates to the local government, to the barangay officials. Nobody knows more about your barangay than you. That is why it is important that we listen to you. And we do. We will listen to you. And you tell us. Because ang lagi kong sinasabi, nung pumasok ako sa national politics, naging senador ako, lagi kong sinasabi sa mga kapwa-senador ko, makinig kayo sa mga lokal. Dahil ang dala nila, hindi naman problema lamang. Ang dala nila, may solusyon din yan eh. Tayo, nandito tayo sa Maynila, nagdidebate tayo, hindi natin alam talaga kung ano yung sitwasyon doon. Makinig ka doon. Pero hindi rin natin alam na solusyonan yan. Dahil hindi natin alam yung mga detalye doon sa kondisyon ng bawat lugar. Kaya't kailangan pakinggan natin sila. O sige, siyempre yung iba, But yung iba, lahat naman yung talagang sincere na local government officials, talagang naghahanap ng solusyon. Hindi naman araw-araw nilang kaharap ang tao paano, everyday, nagrereklamo, boss, bakit naman ganito? Ba't di pa ninyo naayos ito? Kaya it's in your, I know it's in the interest of local government officials. Dahil ang difference ng national officials sa local government, kami kaharap namin politiko. Kayo kaharap ninyo taong bayan. That's why that connection has to be brought all the way up to the national government. And that is why I hold in such importance the inputs that you give us. The SK, for example. We are probably the youngest workforce in Asia now, ang Pilipinas. Dahil ang average age ng ating mga manggagawa ay mga 25, 26. Yung iba, matatanda na. Kaya napakahalaga na yung mga kabataan ay maisama natin. I have been in the youth movement for most of my political life, and even before my political life. And it is very clear that government, for example, needs to be revitalized, needs to have new blood, needs to have new ideas, needs to have that determination and that energy that maybe the very high ups have lose sight of. Napakaganda makita na mga kabataan talagang hindi nila tinitigilan ang kanilang paniniwala na ipinaglalaban. I remember nandito ni mga ibang KB. Ang KB dati yung Kabataan Barangay. Simple lang yung slogan ng Kabataan Barangay. Makialam, makialam, makialam. Tama yun. Dapat ganun pa rin ang gagawin ng kabataan. Kung meron kayong nakikitang mas magandang pamamaraan, sabihin ninyo, isigaw ninyo. Wala, yung mga matatanda hindi makikinig sa inyo, pero pilitin ninyo. Hindi naman, lahat naman, pagka may pangyayari na ganyan, sasabihin, kung maganda ang naging resulta, anong masama doon? Kung hindi matagumpay, hindi magandang lumabas, hindi bale. Sige, next. Subukan natin ibang bagay. Subukan natin ibang sistema. But you have to be there. We need your energy. We need your new blood. Tignan muna natin. For example, sa pamumuhay natin ngayon, naging napakahalaga ang teknolohiya. Ngayon, sasabihin natin, oh, siyempre tayo, pinag-aaralan namin yon. In my generation, we study. But in my generation, hindi importante ang teknolohiya. Nagugulat kami, makita yung 6 years old, humawak ng kahit na Game Boy o computer. Wala, parang walang baliwala. Tayo pinag-aaral, inisip, ito ba yung pipindutin ko ito? And that kind of intuitive and instinctive knowledge from the youth is what we need. And the future is going to be technologically driven. And that is why the natural instinct of our younger people when it comes to technology is important. It has to be part of all our thinking. It has to be part of all our planning. So, kaya nabanggit ko lahat yan ay dahil nais ko lang naman talagang ipaalam sa inyo na dahil nga sa aking karanasan bilang local government official, ay asahan po ninyo na lahat ng inyong mga iniisip, lahat ng inyong mga suggestion, lahat ng inyong sinasabi sa amin, ay pinapakinggan namin yan. Ngayon, hindi sasabihin na basta sinabi nyo, gagawin namin. Pero siyempre, that will be part. It will be part. The input that you give us will be part of our planning, will be part of how we move forward. Because dito sa area na ito, maraming lumapit sa akin na ganito, so alam ko na. Dito sa area naman to na iba. Alam ko na. So, paano natin paplanuhin na mabuti yan? And so, I just want to remind you of the extremely important place that the local governments at the barangay level play in this government's decision-making, in this government's planning, in this government's hope for the future of our country. Because, and then let's turn back to the SK. What we are doing here, itong mga nakikita niyo na leader sa national, hindi na namin ginagawa para sa amin ito, para na sa mga kabataan yan. So, we have to hear from the young people. We have to hear from the ordinary citizens. What is the future that you want? What is the future that you feel we can achieve? And how do you suggest that we do it? These questions are very, very important. And these are questions that we ask of the local government. And I promise you, we will listen to those answers.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday directed officials of the Philippine National Police or PNP, led by PNP Chief Police General Romel Francisco Marbil, to do everything that it can to ensure the peaceful holding of the midterm elections next year. The directive was given by the President during the PNP's command conference in Camp Crame. According to PNP Public Information Office Chief, Police Colonel Jean Fajardo, the Commander-in-Chief ordered the PNP to strengthen its efforts on disarming and eliminating Private Armed Group or PAG, intelligence gathering, and confiscating illegal firearms as preparations for the elections. The chief executive also wanted the PNP to find potential hotspots in the upcoming elections to make sure the polls will be properly held. Besides this, President Marcos underscored the importance of laying out security preparations early for the celebration of Independence Day on June 12 and his State of the Nation Address or SONA next month. Meanwhile, President Marcos supports the plan of the PNP to implement right sizing in its ranks to maximize police force and increase police visibility in the country. With this, the President said, It will prevent redundant jobs and responsibilities of the police force. This will also strengthen programs and projects of the PNP in the community. Department of the Interior and Local Government or DILG Secretary Benher Abalos for his part said, the government's plan is to clearly outline the functions, investigation, and operation of PNP personnel.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday led the distribution of various assistance to farmers, fisherfolk, and families in Tagum City, Davao del Norte Province. This is part of the administration's continuing whole-of-government approach to uplift the lives of Filipinos under the vision of Bagong Pilipinas or New Philippines. Various government agencies once again gathered to bring government services closer to the people amid the impacts of the El Nino phenomenon across the country. The Department of Social Welfare and Development distributed cash assistance worth 10,000 pesos to the beneficiaries, while the Office of House Speaker Martin Romualdez provided 5 kilos of rice to each attendee. During the program, the President personally led the distribution of 10,000 pesos cash assistance to 10 beneficiaries from 3 provinces, as well as 10 million pesos each to the provincial governments of Davao del Norte, Davao de Oro, and Davao Oriental. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event. You just heard the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Although the Philippines is not going to war, President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday vowed to provide the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, with the necessary resources, training, and equipment to enhance its external defense capabilities. During his camp visit to the Army's 10th Infantry Division in Mawab, Davao de Oro Province, the President cited the need to boost the AFP's capabilities as it transitions from dealing with internal security threats such as the communist insurgency to a more outward-looking defense posture. The Philippines is adopting a paradigm shift in the country's defense strategy through the Comprehensive Archipelagic Defense Concept, or CADC, which was adopted by the Marcos administration amid China's aggression in the West Philippine Sea, or WPS. The Commander-in-Chief assured the military that it would have ample support from the civilian government in its quest to beef up its forces. But President Marcos clarified that the Philippines was not seeking war with any nation, stressing that the AFP would only be in a defensive mode when it comes to the country's territories. In his message, the chief executive also congratulated the troops of the 10th Infantry Division for their successes through hard work, skills, and courage, and urged them to be peacekeepers by encouraging communist insurgents to return to the fold of the law.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday went to Digos City, Davao del Sur Province to hand over agri-fishery livelihood projects geared towards the attainment of food sufficiency and increased income of farmers and fisherfolk, as well as continue the distribution of various assistance to intended beneficiaries who have been greatly affected by the El Niño phenomenon in the provinces of Davao del Sur and Davao Occidental. Amounting to a total of 36.71 million pesos, the President turned over post-harvest facility, equipment, and materials under the Department of Agriculture, or DA's rice and corn programs, fiberglass reinforced plastic, or FRP boats, fishing gears and paraphernalia under the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BFAR's Fisheries Development Program, and toolkits under the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA's Special Training for Employment Program. In his speech, the chief executive said he is committed to help the province boost its infrastructure, health, tourism, and agriculture sectors. President Marcos cited ongoing infrastructure projects spearheaded by the Department of Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, such as the Matanao-Kiblawan-Padada Road and Junction Mati-Aurora Bypass Road. The Department of Transportation, or DOTR, is also involved in the construction of various facilities including the Tubalan and Poblacion ports in Malita, Balut Island and Mabila ports in Sarangani, and Balangonan Port in Jose Abad Santos. These projects are in addition to the Mindanao Railway Project Phase 1 that extends from Digos City to Davao and Tagum, the President said. He said the government is looking for more funds to complete the project. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Sa araw na ito, ating binibigyang pansin ang naging epekto ng El Niño sa buhay ng ating mga magsasaka, mangingisda, at ang kanilang pamilya dito sa Region 11. Kasama din natin ngayon ang ating mga kababayan mula sa Davao Occidental at iba pang bayan ng Davao del Sur. Batid natin na ang tagtuyot ay hindi lamang nagdudulot ng matinding pinsala sa ating mga sakahan at palaisdaan. Ito rin ay nagiging sagabal sa kabuhayan at pagtupad sa pangarap ng maraming Pilipino. Sa aming tala, umabot na sa mahigit 4,000 katao o lagpas 1,000 pamilya ang naapektuhan ng tagtuyot sa ilang barangay ng Malalag at Santa Cruz dito sa Davao del Sur. Tinatayang halos 50 milyong piso na halaga ng mga pananim nang nawala na sana ay naging kita ng ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda o magiging pagkain ng ating mga kababayan. Kaya't sa masisipag natin mga magsasaka at mangingisda, kayo ay nagsisilbing tagapangalaga ng sektor ng agrikultura. Kayo rin ang bumubuhay sa inyong mga pamayanan dahil sa mga pagkain inyong hinahain sa hapag ng bawat tahanan. Kaya naman, minabuti namin pumarito ngayon upang ipaalam sa inyo na hindi namin kayo pababayaan. Ang pamahalaan ay nandito at laging handang umalay at magbigay ng tulong, lalo na sa panahon ng kagipitan. Ang kagawaran ng agrikultura ay kasalukuyan nagsisikap sa pagtustos ng patubig sa mga taniman, sa paggamit ng tinatawag, meron po tayo mga na-develop na bagong teknik ng pagsaka. Isa doon ang alternate wetting and drying technology na napakaganda ang naging resulta sa ibang lugar sa Pilipinas. Nakakaabot, sinasabi nila, yung irrigated areas, pag ginamit itong wet and dry technique, ay umaabot daw sila hanggang 12 tons. Yung pinakamalaki, 14 tons per hectare ang kanilang inaani. Kaya dadalhin po natin, tuturuan po natin ang ating magsasaka. Kasabay niyan ang patubig para maging malaki ang ani natin, mas maganda ang magiging kabuhayan ng ating magsasaka. Ngayon, magbibigay din ang DA ng hybrid rice seed processing facility na kinabibilangan ng warehouse at 4 na unit na recirculating dryer. 1 unit ng combine harvester, 2 unit ng farm tractor na may implement, 2 unit ng truck, at 1 unit ng seed cleaner sa ilalim ng DA Rice Program. Sa ilalim naman ng corn program, magbibigay din kami ng 3 unit ng mechanical corn husker sheller. Lahat po itong mga makinaryang ito ay binibigay po natin sa ating mga magsasaka upang hindi na para yung inyong inaani ay kaya ninyo i-process mula sa inyo ay hindi na dadaan kung saan processing. Ito'y diretso na sa merkado. Kaya't wala nang middleman. Kaya't lahat ng kita doon sa produktong yun ay pupunta sa nagsaka para doon sa produktong yun. Ikinalulugod ko ring ibalita na ang Philippine Coconut Authority ay mamamahagi ng mga coconut seedling at pataba sa lupa na nagkakahalagang higit sa 3 milyong piso sa ilalim ng tinatawag na Coconut Hybridization Project. Para naman sa ating mga magsasakang tuluyan na nasira ang mga pananim, hindi po namin kayo nakakalimutan. Bilang bahagi ng ating programa sa pagtulong, ang TESDA naman ay namamahagi ng mga toolkit para sa pag-aalaga ng organic hogs and small ruminants sa ilalim ng Special Training for Employment Program. Maglalaan din sila ng allowance na nagkakahalagang higit 2,000 piso bawat isa sa 25 trainee ng organic agricultural production. Hindi po nagtatapos dito ang ating tulong. Alam po namin na hindi madaling bumangon mula sa epekto ng tagtuyot kung walang puhunan. Kaya po, may inihanda rin kami maliit na tulong para sa ating mga magsasaka. mangingisda, at ilang piling pamilya na tinamaan talaga ng epekto ng El Nino. Halos 60 milyong piso ang nakalaan sa pamamahagi ng tulong ng mga magsasaka, mangingisda, at inyong pamilya dito sa Davao Region sa ilalim ng Presidential Assistance for Farmers, Fisherfolk, and Families. Ito po ay galing po sa Office of the President. Dahil po, bukod sa programa ng DA, bukod sa programa ng TESDA, ng DTI, at ng DSWD, ay sabi namin, talagang kahit na lahat ng programa ay nabubuo at maganda ang takbo, hanapan pa natin ng kaunti pang tulong. Paano pa natin dagdagan ang ating tulong. Kaya ang ginawa ko po ay tinignan ko. Sabi ko, Office of the President, meron naman tayong konting budget dyan na pwedeng gamitin. Kaya yan na muna ang gagamitin namin para madagdagan naman ang dalang tulong namin para sa mga mangingisda at sa mga magsasaka. Kasabay pa rito, ang DSWD ay magbibigay ng 10,000 bawat isa sa 10,000 piling benepisyaryo sa probinsya. Ang DOLE naman ay magkakaloob ng higit 2 milyong piso na halaga na tulong sa halos 300 benepisyaryo ng DOLE Integrated Livelihood Program at karagdagang halos 3 milyong piso sa lagpas 600 benepisyaryo ng TUPAD Program. Samantala, ang DTI ay magbibigay ng gabay at puhunan upang magkaroon kayo ng pagkakakitaan habang hinihintay ninyo ang susunod na panahon ng pagtatanim. Kasama po rin natin ang tanggapan ng ating House Speaker Martin Romualdez, upang magkaloob ng 5 kilong bigas sa bawat na dumalo. Buo. At sa lahat po na ito, ay buo ang aking pag-asa na sama-sama natin pagkilos ay malalampasan po natin ang kahit anong pagsubok. Alam ko po na ang prioridad ng pamahalaang panlalawigan ng Davao del Sur ang patatagin ang mga sektor ng infrastruktura, kalusugan, kabuhayan, turismo at agrikultura. Nananalig ako na masasakatuparan natin ang mga ito sapagkat nariyan ang mga ahensyang kabalikat natin sa muling pag-ahon. Sa katunayan po, pangunguna ng DPWH, kasalukuyan natin tinatapos ang ilang proyekto tulad ng Matanao, Kiblawan, Padada Road at ang Junction Mati-Aurora Bypass Road. Ang DOTR naman po ay kasama din sa pagbabalangkas ng mga pasilidad tulad ng Tubalan at Poblasyon Ports sa Malita, Balot Isa Island Port at Mabila Port sa Sarangani at Balangunan Port sa Jose Abad Santos. Alam niyo po kung bakit napakahalaga itong mga puertong ito. Dahil kung minsan nauubos ang kita ng ating mga magsasaka sa kakabayad ng transport cost. Dahil mahal ang transport cost. At kung saan-saan pa isasakay sa truck, tapos isasakay sa barko, bago isasakay uli sa truck, bago makarating sa merkado. Bago pa nakarating sa merkado, naubos na yung kinita ng ating mga magsasaka. Kaya dinalagyan, sabi natin, ay tulungan natin. Lagyan natin ng mga puerto. Actually, tawag dito halos ang agricultural port talaga ito mga ito para sa agricultural product. Siyempre, gagamitin din ito pang ferry para sa mga pagbiyahe ng ating mga kababayan. Ngunit, ang talagang sadya ng mga puertong yan ay para mula sa probinsya ninyo. At pagka na-process na ninyo ang inyong inani, ay isasakay nyo kagad sa barko. Yung barko, diretso na yun kung saan pupunta. Hindi na kung saan padadalhin, hindi na isasakay sa truck. Kung sa Maynila dadalhin, tuloy-tuloy sa Maynila. Sa bababa kagad sa Maynila, yun lang ay ang babayaran ng ating mga magsasaka. At yung processing po, wala na pong middleman. Kayo po, ang mga magsasaka po, lahat po ng kikitain sa bawat hakbang, habang umabot sa merkado, ay imbis na pumunta sa middleman, ay mapupunta na sa ating mga magsasaka. Dagdag po natin, Dagdag po rin natin ang Mindanao, napakalaking proyekto ng Mindanao Railway Project Phase 1 na magsisimula dito sa Digos, papuntang Davao hanggang Tagum, na kasalukuyan nating hinahanapan ng karagdagang pondo. Layunin nitong mapabilis hindi lamang ang daloy ng transportasyon, kundi pati na ang pag-usad ng kaunlaran sa inyong lugar. Asahan po ninyo, tututukan po natin upang makapagbigay ng bagong pag-asa sa inyo at sa mga susunod pang henerasyon. Mahalaga ang pagkakaisa ng bawat Pilipino para sa mas mabilis at epektibong tugon sa El Nino at upang mapaghandaan ang nakakaambang panahon ng La Nina. Sa ating sama-sama na pagkilos, nakakatiyak ako na makakamit natin ang isang masaganang bukas at ang bagong Pilipinas na matagal na nating pinapangarap. Mabuhay ang ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda!
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Friday led the distribution of land titles, support services, and presidential assistance to farmers, fisherfolk, and families in Pili, Camarines Sur Province. The President is joined by various government agencies in distributing assistance to the beneficiaries and communities affected by the El Nino phenomenon. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, provided agricultural aid, including hybrid rice seeds, fertilizer vouchers, cassava granulators, yellow corn seeds, inorganic fertilizers, among others. The Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources, or BIFAR, also provided gears and fingerlings for fishing communities. President Marcos also handed over 2,115 certificates of land ownership awards, or CLOAs, covering over 3,300 hectares of land, benefiting 1,965 agrarian reform beneficiaries, or ARBs, across the provinces of Sorsogon, Catanduanes, Masbate, Albay, Camarines Norte, and Camarines del Sur. Let's listen to the speech of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. during the event.
Ikinalulugod kong makasama ang ating mga kababayan sa Bicol upang ipagkaloob ng personal ang mga titulo ng lupa at iba pang tulong para mapaunlad ang inyong pamumuhay at ang ekonomiya ng inyong rehiyon. Kung may makakilala na, sa tuwing babalik ako dito, ramdam ko ang mapakainit na pagtanggap ninyo sa akin, mga manoy at mga manay. Katulad ng aking ama, na bumisita rin dito sa Kamsur upang suportahan ang ating mga magsasaka, nais ko ring iparamdam ang aking buong pusong pagkikilala sa inyo na kumakayod araw-araw, ngunit kinakapos pa rin upang matustusan ang inyong pangangailangan. Kaya asahan ninyo, lagi kaming may baong magandang balita at pasalubong mula sa pagtatapos ng infrastruktura na aming ipinatayo hanggang sa mga programang aming pasisinayaan upang maging mas masagana ang pamumuhay dito sa Region 5. Ilan sa kaabang-abang na infrastruktura sa lalawigan ng Camarines Sur ang Camarines Sur Expressway. Andyan din ang Pasakaw-Balatan Tourism Coastal Road at ang sisimulan natin na New Naga Airport Development Project. Ito ay mga inaasahang magiging susi na mas mabilis na transportasyon at mas magiging malagong ekonomiya. Bukod po rito, nailunsad namin noong nakaraang taon ang kadiwa ng Pangulo at Pambansang Pabahay para sa Pilipino o yung tinatawag na 4PH Housing Project dito sa Camarines Sur. Namahagi rin kami ng mga harvester, transplanter, pataba at abono ng lupa. Pati na rin ang mga financial at livelihood assistance. Ito ang mga naging hakbang ng ating administrasyon upang maisulong ang mas maginhawa at mas maunlad na kabuhayan para sa ating mga magsasaka, mangingisda at ang inyong mga pamilya. Ngunit, hindi po rito nagtatapos ang ipapagkaloob namin tulong sa inyo. Dahil sa araw na ito, ilalapit namin muli sa lahat ang serbisyo ng gobyerno. Sa pangungunan ng Department of Agrarian Reform, maghahandog tayo ng mahigit 2,001 titulo ng lupa na tinatayag 2,000 Agrarian Reform beneficiary dito po sa Bicol Region. Sa kabuuan po, sa buong Pilipinas, nakapagbigay na po tayo ng halos 30,000 Certificate of Land Ownership Award, ang CLOA, at kasama, yung iba naman ay e-title, electronic title, na halos 30,000 agrarian reform beneficiary sa buong bansa mula Enero hanggang Mayo ng taong ito. Meron pa pong 36,000 CLOA at e-title na ipapamigay natin sa lagpas na 30,000 agrarian reform beneficiary bago matapos ang taon na ito. Magsisilbing tulay ang Certificate of Land Ownership Award at ang mga e-title na ito tungo sa mas marami pang oportunidad. Nang sa gayon ay magiging matagumpay ang mga na kinaharap ninyo sa pagsubok sa buhay at matupad ang inyong mga pangarap. Sa tulong ng programang ito at sa bisa ng Republic Act 11953 na ating nilagdaan, hindi na ninyo kailanganing magbayad ng taunang amortisasyon sa lupang inyong natanggap mula sa pamahalaan. Sa halip, tutulungan pa namin kayo na gawing mas produktibo at malusog ang inyong mga lupa at tunay na dekalidad ang inyong mga ani. Alam niyo po, ang agrarian reform na programa ay ang lagi nating nakikita ang pagbibigay ng titulo. Hindi talaga totoo naman at yan ang pinakamahalaga. Ngunit, ang kasama po sa batas ng agrarian reform ay meron ding suporta lahat sa pamamagitan ng mga makinarya, sa pamamagitan ng mga ayuda, sa pamamagitan ng technical support na dadalhin ng agrarian reform para talagang mas maganda ang ani na makikita ng ating mga magsasaka at mas maganda ang huli ng ating mga ngisda. Magkakaloob din kami na mahigit 600 farm machinery at equipment na nakakahalagang 20 milyong piso upang tuluyang umusbong ang inyong mga sakahan. Pabibilisin din natin ang pag-ani ng inyong produkto at paghahatid ng pagkain sa mga mamamayan nang matugunan ang tumataas na demand sa pagkain sa buong bansa. Natapos na rin namin ang 8 farm-to-market road na maglalapit sa ating mga magsasaka sa mga mamimili. Kaugnay nito, siyam pa ng farm-to-market road ang ating ipapagawa sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Region 5. Paigtingin din natin ang pagtutupad ng support services sa Bicol Region na kung sumasahin mula sa simula ng administrasyon ay nakatulong na sa halos 83,000 benepisyaryo. Makakaasa po kayo na patuloy namin panangalagaan ang kapakanan ng mga magsasaka, anumang balakid ang inyong harapin, dumating man ang tagtuyot o tag-ulan. Hindi rin namin lingid sa kaalaman ang problema na patuloy na sumusubok sa agrikultural na sektor ng Kamsur, ang hinaharap natin ngayong El Nino. Ayon sa pinakahuling datos na aming nakalap, mahigit 80,000 pamilya sa higit 900 barangay sa Bicol Region ay lubhang naapektuhan ng El Nino. Ang masakit pa rito ay tinatayang higit na 500 milyong piso ang halaga na pagkalugi na nararanasan ng ating mga magsasaka. Hindi namin hahayaan na harapin ninyo ang nag-iisa ang mga hamon ng El Nino. Nandito kami para patuloy na umagapay sa inyo. Sa katunayan, aabot sa 60 milyong piso na halaga ang tulong at ayuda na ibabahagi ng tanggapan ng Pangulo para sa Camarines Sur at Camarines Norte. Yun po yung tseke na ibinigay natin sa ating mga butihing gobernador. Sa panig naman ng DSWD, mabibigyan ang 276 na benepisyaryo na nasa ilalim ng ayuda sa Kapos Sakita Program o AKAP ng cash assistance na aabot sa higit 820,000 piso. Dagdag din po rito ang paghahanda o pag tinatawag na preposition na humigit kumulang 40,000 food pack na nakakahalaga ng kabuuang 27 milyong piso sa buong rehiyon. Sa usaping agrikultura naman po tayo. Bago pa man ako mahalal bilang Pangulo, ay talaga pong malapit na sa puso ko ang sektor ng agrikultura. Naniniwala ako sa potensyal nitong baguhin ang buhay ng bawat Pilipino. Kaya naman po ay ilang beses ko nang nabanggit na kailangan talaga natin tutukan ang pagpalago ng inyong sektor. Ngayong araw, magbabahagi ang Department of Agriculture ng mga kagamitan sa pagsasaka tulad ng butil ng palay at mais, mga bagong traktor, mga pautang mula sa Agri-Negosyo Program. Para naman sa long-term plan, para sa matagalan na plano, ang DA rin po ay masusing nagpaplano at nagpapatupad ng mga paunang hakbang tulad po ng pagpapagawa ng ating nakita ng mga farm-to-market road, pagpapalawig ng mga lupang sakahan at palaisdaan, pagsasaayos sa sistema ng irigasyon, at ilang pang mga infrastructure project na suporta at magpapabilis sa daloy ng produktong pang-agrikultura. Sinusulong din ng DA ang paggamit ng mga science-based at climate-resilient technologies para sa pagsasaka. Pati na rin ang pagtatayo ng mga agro-processing facilities sa mga tinatawag nating strategic agriculture and fisheries development areas. Kasama na rin po sa pangnawakan at pangmalakasang inisyatibo ng DA ay ang pagbigay ng pinansyal na tulong sa ating mga magsasaka tulad ng mga programang pautang, yung insurance at paghihikayat sa mga mamumunuhan sa sektor ng agrikultura upang magkaroon kayo ng kapital na pangkabuhayan. Hangad din namin na maangat ang pangingisda sa inyong probinsya. Kaya po, magbabahagi ang Bureau of Fisheries at Aquatic Resources ng 3 unit ng di-makinang fiberglass reinforced na bangka. Ito po ay ilan lamang sa mga agresibong hakbang na talaga namang itinutulak at inaalok natin sa ating mga magsasaka at mangingisda sa ilalim ng administrasyon na ito. Kasabay po rito, mamimigay ang DOLE ng mga padyak para sa higit na 100 benepisyaryo at cash payout para sa mga nasa ilalim ng programa ng DOLE na tupad. Makikita ninyo naman na siksik, liglig at nag-uumapaw ang aming tulong upang kayo'y makabangon mula sa pagsubok na kinakaharap ninyo ngayon. Dalangin po namin na payabungin ninyo ang mga natanggap ninyong biyaya ngayong araw. Inaanyayahan ko kayo na makipagtulungan sa iba't ibang ahensya ng pamahalaan upang magamit ninyo ng wasto ang mga lupain at matutunan ninyo ang mga makabagong pamamaraan na magpapadali sa inyong hanap buhay. Sa mga nakatanggap ng presidential assistance, gamitin ninyo ito upang mas mapalawig pa ang inyong mga sakahan, palaisdaan at ang mga negosyo. Huwag kayong mahihiyang lumapit sa amin sa oras ng pangangailangan, lalong-lalo na kung ito ay makakatulong at makakabuti sa inyong mga kalagayan. Tinatawagan ko naman ngayon ang DA at saka DAR na pagpatuloy ang pamamahagi ng lupa at mahalagang serbisyo sa mga magsasaka sa iba't ibang sulok ng bansa, lalo na sa mga lubos na naapektuhan ng tagtuyot. Naway maging masinop at masigasig din ang DPWH sa pagsunod sa ating plano nang sa gayon ay matapos ang mga infrastruktura sa lalong madaling panahon. Sikapin po ninyong tapusin agad ang natitirang flood control project sa Bicol River para maibsan ang pagbaha ng posibleng idudulot naman ng mukhang susunod na La Nina. Pahalagaan namin ang tiwalang ipinagkaloob ng mga magsasaka at mangingisda sa pamamagitan ng pagbigay ng suporta na sa kanilang kabuhayan at pananatili sa integridad ng ating lupa at iba pang yaman ng kalikasan. Sa ating pagbubuklod ngayong araw, umaasa akong patuloy tayo makakapagbigay ng lakas sa isa't isa na maisulong natin ang mas maunlad, maliwanag at masaganang bukas para sa bawat Pilipino. Maraming salamat, Diyos mabalos.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacanang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page and YouTube channel at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacanang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacanang.